I think it was very clear that we have indeed many different approaches, but mainly we can say that there is a kind of differentiation there. On one side, that art and politics are actually working, let's say, with fictions, working with semblances, with, let's say, metaphors. And on the other side, artists and cooperatives that try to change existing formats in a direct action. However, my question will be do you believe, and this is a question to all of you, that those boundaries might be fluid, that reality and non-reality fiction, let's say that one comes into the other, and can you see that as an opportunity or as an obstacle for your work?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the method, actually. I think it's the way for us, and I don't know if I can talk for Philip as well for this, maybe you can answer me, but I think the way I understand art practices, socially engaged practices, and a little bit to bounce again on what you were saying before is and on what Tanya Bruguera was saying before, she also doesn't mention art when she tells you to transform your civic actions into what she said? Ideas into civic actions. So I think it's really, it's a good way, it's a good practice to actually work on the edge of whatever practice you are, and that's what you're doing with the artist displacement, and shake it a little bit.
So, my question would be, just to add on what Sotiri said, do you feel that you need to be in dialogue with the public administration, the public bodies who operate in where you operate, or do you just kind of operate it in parallel to them, and you don't need them to kind of take over what you're doing to make it more established?
Sorry, also
and is it a clash, or is it just a parallel route?
It's also we have also it's actually addressed to you, because we have also a question to that saying in a way it's what's the difference between what you do and what, let's say, a normal architecture company is doing?
That's an excellent question. Working with municipalities. No, I think we do work for sure with public bodies, with private bodies, and it's. I mean, we need to also, because we don't want to replace them. I think that's really important to say. We don't want to take the responsibility from the municipality to do social housing. The question of Ilias in this case was that because of the density of this kind of housing configuration, you cannot ask for a permit to refurbish them. So they're themselves blocked and cannot act in this legal frame, really, when the situation is too edgy. About the difference between what we do and what an architecture firm does, in one direction there's not, and that's the part that I don't present, because we we can make a restaurant if we get paid for that, no question. Then where we differentiate ourselves, and also there is we were worried about not taking architects' job in a country where there is already lots of architects and no jobs. So we again act where there is no money at all for them to work. So, and the way, in a way, it's just a method to bring funds through the summer school. Actually, I forgot to do my promo, because and if my team is looking, they're gonna kill me. So we have a summer school in summer. You can apply. That's done. Sorry, but yeah. So the financing scheme helps us to do what an architecture studio cannot do.
Any further comments?
Okay, I'm not sure if I could. I mean, we could start talking to you.
It's a big issue.
Yeah, okay. I think there is a rift in analogy. I mean, I think that, of course, the paradigms that were presented here do not fall under the same intentions and methodologies and ideas. But I do believe that we can still have pretty much significant socially engaged art without having some sort of a bloodshed or a dictatorship that slaughters everybody in the street. You have rivers of blood, etc., and guillotines slashing the heads of monarchs, etc. So yeah, I think that we can still, in the framework of the quotidian and normalized life of Western democracy, whatever this means in this context, we can still have I'm not really keen on using the word subversion a lot. It's a bit problematic, and also the word resistance. I think that I will stop using these words. I don't like them very much. But you still can have an art practice that can problematize and challenge various normalities, social normalities, but just in particular scales and in particular frameworks and in particular ideological apparatuses that tend to be to operate in societies like these or others that are rather similar. So yes, I crave for some sort of social understanding, reflection, and specificity in such practices, rather than spontaneous and spontaneist response to wider social conditions. In Greece, in the recent years, we also experienced spontaneous, collectivist, spontaneous responses to the political, social and economic crisis, and we witnessed many examples of self-organized spaces challenging the status quo. And in my view, this very heroic and very interesting examples are also highly perplexed. They present us with various perplexities that we have to critically scrutinize. Examples of self-organization emerging in this very particular period were also reproducing mainstream national consensus, mainstream national narratives and mythologies of the heroic Greek community of resistance, mythologies of the Greek people as an essentially resisting entity. And this was quite problematic, and I think that we are now in the point where we can sort of reflect on this very recent past, indeed, and see the ambiguities that happen to pervade this particular artistic spontaneism and collectivism. Yeah. So, I mean, regarding the practices, to sum it up, regarding the practices I've presented, I'm not so much interested in the scalability, in the scale of impact or social impact, so as to the kind of impact and interrogation of normality they can experiment with. This is what fascinates me in this mode of action. Yeah.
Wonderful. Just very briefly.
Please.
I think it's also interesting to do the exercise of putting artistic practices into normal frameworks of evaluation, classic frameworks of evaluation, and see what impact does the work has actually, and look at it, because we're working and I've been working with Philip for 5 years, and actually I know the way we work is we work more like designers, where you think of a space, you think of a program, and somehow there is you tweak it, you play on the edge, you blur the lines, as you said. But I think it's also interesting, even if you don't care, whatever impact you want to have, I think it's interesting to ask these questions.
Yeah, my take is more anti-humanist and post-emancipatory, so I don't have the same concepts here. But nevertheless, I mean, let me phrase a question then to both of you, if I may perhaps do so. I mean, when you work with specific communities of people and neighborhoods and quarters, do you ever sort of wish to challenge what seems to be a common belief or a common idea that may be shared by such a community. Do you sometimes feel like refuting what seems to be very predominant amidst the social space you engage with? And how do you go about it when you feel so, let's say?
It's a difficult
Does
question
this-
for you.
I mean, do you ever feel like that you have to destroy one of these communities, a bit like that? So this community is radically evil and should not keep on existing. Like it has to be burned or something like that.
I didn't experience that.
You didn't.
And we have some struggle, also like direct struggles with people who are directly engaging with us. But otherwise, it's a kind of, we are existing on the edge and having our own lives in a way.
I think I have to intervene here and making like the break that we have to do. I'm sorry that I really like ending this very interesting discussion.
Perhaps it to the upcoming
And
sessions
actually,
also.
it does make a very interesting link to our next session because we're really then discussing self-organization. We're discussing reality and non-reality, real economy and non-real economies, alternative realities. Right.
Yeah.
Thank you very
So-
much, first of all. And we
take a
meet-
5-minute
we
break
take a
and
5-minute
we
break
come back.
and we come back. Thank you.
Thank you.